Welcome to the Richer Sounds Exeter branch. My name's Josh and today I'm here to talk to you about HDR. HDR stands for High Dynamic Range. You've probably seen HDR available in the world of photography, but today I am here to talk to you about it in TV and moving images. If you'd like to follow me through to the den room, I'll talk to you about it in some closer detail. HDR gives your TV the ability to show a wider and richer range of colours. This gives it brighter whites and much deeper, darker blacks, which gives the TV a more dynamic look. This also helps preserve detail in the darkest and brightest images not seen before on previous sets. There are two main things to keep in mind when thinking about HDR, and they are contrast and colour. Contrast relates to the difference between light and dark. The greater the difference, the greater the contrast. TVs have to meet specific standards of peak brightness and black levels to be considered as HDR. The TV has to be able to process 10-bit colour, also known as deep colour. This equates to a signal with over 1 billion individual colours. With 10-bit colour, HDR TVs produce a massive range of colour shades, smoothing out colour gradations and making scenes look far more realistic. There are two main display technologies in the AV industry, OLED and LED LCD. LED uses backlighting, which means it can produce very high peak brightness, but not as deep blacks. On the other hand, OLED pixels can be switched on and off individually, giving them the purest blacks, but it means the peak brightness isn't quite as high. Because of this, we have two qualification standards for HDR TVs. The first qualification standard means a set would have to produce more than 1000 nits peak brightness and less than 0.05 nits black level. This is the qualification standard we would use for your HDR LED set. In the second qualification, a TV has to produce more than 540 nits peak brightness and black levels of 0.0005 nits. This is what we would use for your HDR OLED sets. So, you may ask yourself, if I buy a HDR set, will all the content I watch be HDR? Unfortunately, the content has to be mastered for HDR, which means the set and the content both have to be HDR ready. Luckily, with the introduction of Ultra HD Blu-ray in 2016 and the advancements in online streaming services such as Netflix, Amazon Prime and YouTube, the HDR standard is now more accessible than ever. This means that more and more HDR content will become available. So, if you want to know more about HDR, or you want to pop in and see one of these incredible TVs for yourself, please pop down to your local Richer Sounds or book a demo today.